Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode. This is a camera I bought on eBay several months ago. I was attracted by the strap actually, and I think this camera cost me about £7.50, so it's quite a cheap camera. Zeiss is a name famed for its lenses, but Zeiss also made cameras. And this is an example of a Zeiss camera. This is a 1950s Contina. I always want to call it Cortina, but it's Contina. It looks like a rangefinder camera, but it isn't. I don't quite know which model this is. The case is in nice condition. And of course you get this nice strap with it as well. And you can see it in all its glory. So obviously, looking at the front, we have a 45mm 3.5 lens, a Nova astigmat that looks to be coated. Prontor SVS shutter, so it's a leaf shutter, so it's going to be quiet. And if I turn it around this way, you can see the top of the lens. So this is obviously your focusing, and this is a zone focusing camera. So you have to set this to by guesstimation or experience. And obviously you can see on here there's a depth of field scale, so if we put that to infinity, then everything from way down here, and this is in meters, so everything from sort of just over a metre to infinity would be in focus. Shutter speed range 300 of a second, all the way down to 1 second and B. And apertures 3.5 down to 22. Also on the front we have a flash sync, and we have a switch on the side here for N for bulbs, X for flash, and V for self timer, which is pretty common on all of these sort of leaf shuttered cameras, whether they're TLRs or... This isn't a rangefinder camera, it doesn't have a rangefinder. On the top here we have lever advance. It's beautifully engineered, absolutely beautifully engineered. This is a 60-year-old camera. Obviously a frame counter and film rewind crank. And just look at the machining on that, absolutely stunning. Cold shoe. Look at how that works. When you wind it, it works its way out. You don't have to pull it out, it just winds out on its own. Absolutely amazing. Cold shoe and a light meter. So this has got the ASA and DIN. You know, ASA and ISO are comparable, so this goes from 650 all the way down to 10, I do believe. Yeah. Right. Film we're going to put in, we're going to expose at 160 today. So on the front here we have a old friend, the selenium meter. So when we put some light into that, you should see it move. Let's grab my torch. So then we put that across, and see that the light meter is pretty responsive. Says there you go. That's very responsive. That is bright. I'll just put fresh batteries in that, so that's a bit better. You can see the light meter there. This is exactly like a match needle system. You turn the dial and it matches up, and then where the red arrow is gives you a reading. Now this works on the exposure value system. So what you would do, where it says 7, is you'd come down onto your lens and you'd set this so that the red arrow is at 7. There's a little button here that you have to push in, and what this does is it locks them together, so you can see that there it's showing an 1/8 of a second at f4, there it would be 1/4 of a second at 5.6, and there it would be 1/2 a second at f8. And that's how it worked in the old days. I got quite a few cameras like this, and I got some light meters that also show the EV, or exposure value, and that's how they work. If you want to use it manually, by pushing the button in, you can select the aperture. So say I wanted 125th. I can set 125th at f8, and because it's locked together, there's an 125th at f8. Listen to the shutter. Absolutely beautiful. German engineering at its best. I think with this it's showing 10, isn't it? So if I wind that on, 11, yep. So there's your frame counter on that side over there. Obviously this is the finder, there's no frame lines or anything in this. But yep, beautifully engineered. And of course, Zeiss iKON, made in Germany, made in Stuttgart. Drop down the catch to open the back. There we see the inside. Shutter is cocked. Yep. So we'll see our film has to go into that side, across, and this is the take-up spool on the other side. It's got a slot in it. So let's put some film in it. See the pressure plate on the back. Doesn't seem to have foam in it. Obviously in the 50s and that they didn't really have foam, they used bits of felt, but it's designed in such a way that it doesn't need that. Just a little cover there to close down on the meter. And remember, with the selenium cells, when you're not using them, keep them covered. That way they last. Like I say, this is a 60-year-old camera and they're still working fine. So 35mm film. So pull that out. Pop that film in. So now I like to take up the slack. There's the slot on the take-up spool. Obviously, being a leaf shutter, this camera will flash sync at every shutter speed. Remember the advantages of a leaf shutter. Although a 300th of a second isn't a particularly great wind on until the second row is lined up with the sprockets. Close the back, snap shut. We've taken up the tension, so when we wind it on, you can see that the rewind spool is turning. That shows us that the film is going through the camera. So it's 3, so that's 1, 2, 3. Reset the frame counter to 0, so it's got an arrow on there, so we just turn that around so that gets back to 0. So now, as you can see, I've got the 0 lined up with the marker there. Presuming there's some sort of adjustment underneath here, probably for the exposure meter. And there we go. It's film loaded into a 1950s Zeiss iKON Contina. Beautiful cameras. And like I say, this cost me less than 2 rolls of film, really. I think it was about £7.50 for it. On the bottom we do have a tripod bush and the usual push button to rewind. And like I said, that's basically it. It does have a built-in exposure meter, which is nice. It's just the focusing. But on common with most of these cameras, if you set the aperture to f8, and this is something that applies to Leicas as well, set the aperture to f8 and set the focus to the red dot on the focus, then most things from about 8 feet to infinity will be in focus. Red dot on the focusing ring, if you can see it there. There's a red dot there. So f8 with the red dot. You can actually see on the depth of field scale that goes up to infinity. And f8 comes all the way down to about 3 meters, which is about 9 foot. So everything from 9 foot through to infinity. But yeah, beautiful camera, beautifully engineered, in very good condition. So there we have it, folks. You can see iKON Contina loaded with Fuji C200. She's got that set to 160 just to get a bit of overexposure to it. But yeah, beautiful. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, look out for these little bargains. If you enjoy mechanical things, no battery required even for the light meter. So it's very environmentally friendly, and it's just a beautiful piece of engineering. Like I say, cameras like this won't be built again unless you want to buy a new Leica, but that's the price of a car. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.